Hey, this is Voltaire. So I've had a bunch of people asking me to start posting videos of the work I've been doing with my girls when it comes to our family's vehicles. So today, what I want to do is cover some BC Racing BR type coilovers that we're going to put into my daughter's 2005 Nissan Altima SCR with a 6-speed manual transmission. It's also got a second generation VQ35DE from a 2014 Maxima, along with headers, 3-inch exhaust with a Borla resonator, along with dual mufflers, and also has a 3.5-inch intake from Advent Tuning, and he's also helping us out with the uprev tune on that. But what I wanted to do is, because in my 2010 Maxima we've got an airlift 3H system on there, and for those of you that know me, I like to ride low, and so the reason why I went with airbags isn't just so that we can air out and slam it to the ground, but quite frankly, I want to ride low but yet still be able to raise it up whenever I need to, especially here in Texas. What I discovered over the past couple years is these things called air cups, and so StanceParts is one of the ones that make a really good quality set. And basically the concept of air cups is to allow you to still have the functionality and performance of coilovers, but yet have the option to be able to raise up the vehicle when needed in order to clear some areas. So here's what this does. Basically, I measured the distance of the travel for this air cup using a micrometer, and it came out to about 39 millimeters, which is about 1.54 inches. So basically, when needed, then this system is going to allow your coilovers, once aired up, to go up about 1.5 inches, and then when you want to go back to normal performance, then you just air out and pretty much run with your coilovers. So I want to show how to set this up today. Basically what you're going to want to do is take your coilovers and of course take them apart. But this is actually the opportune time for you to go ahead and take everything apart and clean it up, and basically oil everything down and pretty much get everything nice and almost new again. So what you'll want to do with these BC Racing coilovers is to first of all remove this adjustment knob, take out the top nut, the camber plate pillow ball, and then the upper spring seat. Then of course the coil spring, and then you've got your dust boot and then a bump stop inside. But before you do that, what you're going to have to do is loosen up the spring seat lock ring so that you can turn the lower spring seat and loosen the spring here. The reason why we're doing this is because with these systems you are required to use a linear spring versus how, if you can see, it's small down here but then it expands in the middle, and so you don't want that because then it'll interfere with the cup that is inside. And as you see here, it's a perfect fit, and so it'll move accordingly. And that's the reason why you want to be able to use linear springs. And so you might as well go ahead and upgrade them with a set of Swift springs, which is what I would totally recommend, and go from there. So let's go ahead and take things apart. So just to show you the comparison of the springs, these are the BC Racing springs that come with your BR type coilovers, and these are the Swift springs that I actually had from my Maxima's old system. And it's obvious here that you've got the linear versus this shape that is not going to fit or work with this type of a cup system. So it's obvious there that you'll get some problems here, and that's why you want a linear spring. That's the reason behind it. Now go ahead and get rid of this, but what's important now is that there is a difference in these springs a little bit here, and not just the springs necessarily, but you've also got now another component that you're adding to your system, which is this cup. And as you can see here, it's not going to fit over the shaft into that cup's hole. So what you want to do is adjust this accordingly, and go ahead and just bring that spring seat lock ring down, and I would just bring it down as much as you can, because then you can just adjust it back up later, and then get that lower spring seat down there. Once you've got that, then go ahead and put your new spring on, and as you can see here, got a lot more room to hopefully fit that cup over the shaft. So when you do that, there you go. You've got enough room to fit that shaft into the cup's hole. Now here's an important piece that I learned when I was installing the airbags on my Maxima, is that some owners will actually go ahead and put back this entire upper spring seat. And the challenge though is that it would actually leave a lot more room here. And so what I had to do with the airbag system was actually to remove this center piece out. And it's a piece that you can just pretty much punch out. And there you go. So this upper spring seat, quite frankly, is no longer needed. And go ahead, set that aside. But you want to keep this particular centerpiece in, and that's actually going to be used to go on top of your cup. Now if you notice, you've got a part here which actually is the exact same diameter as the shaft, whereas here you've got these grooves. Those grooves are important because what you'll actually discover is that those grooves will go into the pillow ball of the camber plate. Can't do it this way because then you'll get too much play. So it makes it obvious now, because the concept of this is that this goes into the pillow ball, and then so does this, and you can see that goes inside. So that actually makes it easy to understand that. because again, this particular diameter is the exact same diameter as the shaft, and when you put pressure on the spring, it will actually bring the cup into that area. So hopefully that'll help you better understand the logic behind this. And again, you keep this piece and go ahead, and for airbags and these cup systems, you don't need this one anymore. Now, since you're essentially lowering your springs down a bit because of the cup, that means you're going to want to take these bump stops and cut them accordingly. And so according to this picture, you can see basically the difference between the bump stop as is versus one that I've cut. And so go ahead and take this time to cut it. I'd say go and pretty much take the opportunity to just go ahead and cut it at the halfway point to give you some leeway for that setup. Now go ahead and take your freshly cut bump stop and get ready to put it onto the shaft of your strut. Put that back on there, and then of course the protective dust boot. Now you could put on the cup. Once you get the cup on there, go ahead and also put this on. That piece from the pillow ball, and again put your camber plate on accordingly, along with that top nut that goes onto your camber plate. And I've done enough of these again. It's actually easier for me to just simply use cordless impact. Once you get that on there, so you don't lose that piece, take your adjustment knob and put it back on there. Make it snug. And now, you see the spring loose there, go ahead and tighten up that lower spring seat. Again, according to BC racing specs and your Swift springs, go ahead and hand tighten it. And then turn accordingly so that you get the proper load on there. So there you go. That is a freshly installed air cup onto a set of BC Racing beer type coilovers with upgraded Swift springs for the front suspension of my daughter's 2005 Altima SER. Hope this helps. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thanks.